Gathered friends, listen again to our legend of out-of-body experiences, and also finding out we were war criminals in a past life, again, for real this time.
That's how you get to that was your introduction the last episode, right? That's what Liam means.
I only realized that because I was editing that episode today. I was like, wait, that wasn't relevant in this episode at all.
Yes.
It was a shame. Anyway, I am your host, Max Dudek, and I'm joined by my other cohorts. Please introduce yourselves.
I am Sheridan, the cat goddess. Oh, you go first. It's your show.
Well, you introduced yourself, so that went pretty well.
I am Sheridan, the cat goddess, the most smartest of my headmates. I will not ruin the show this time.
I am Liam, also known as Vahkiti. I am one of Max's concubines, as well as Levi.
Wow. I am Levi, one of Max's concubines.
No.
Oh my god.
I'm gone.
Not one of Max's
Not
concubines.
Not yet. One of
Not with that attitude.
I suppose you can be one of mine if it's so important.
Yet to be a concubine.
Enough of this silliness.
I didn't start it.
It's okay. So, today we're covering a story that we were supposed to cover last time, but we had too much other stuff to cover. We didn't have time for it.
We had to talk about an entire book's worth of one-offs and an entire book, and we only had time for one
of them.
Yes.
We spent our entire time shaking our fist at Gonel for the scheduling error.
More like an oversight.
I did that, didn't I? Did I do that? The fist. I apologize for fisting you, Gonel.
Now you're not ready to say it. Say it to him directly.
I should have anticipated how much content there would be.
Yes.
That's all right.
Anyways.
If we didn't have a time limit, we probably could have gone through it. But we do. We have a hard limit of 3 hours.
6-hour episode.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so Invasion is a pretty cool book. I actually read it before I joined Myths and Legacy.
Ooh.
And
You've even done some work with it. I
have. Just a little bit. I plan to do more, but I keep making other commitments, and I have so much on my plate.
I don't think we were. I think only a handful of us were actually able to listen to the recording because at some point, somehow, the version on the website became corrupted, and only like a minute of it was actually playable.
Yes,
did I fix that?
It was so odd.
I thought it was my phone at first because that's what I was listening to it on, and I thought, I'll just come back to it later on my PC, and it's like, wait, no, it's still doing that.
I was so happy because it is so much easier for me to engage with someone reading me a story than reading it myself. But then it cut off, and then I was sad.
I think I fixed it, but I'll
that's not relevant now. I read the whole damn thing.
It is very good, though. That I did listen to the final version once it was re-uploaded, and it was very good.
I have been in a reading mood lately, so I can't be too upset that I read it. I wasn't in a very particularly reading mood when I did read this book, but I've been in a reading mood lately, so I'm not upset with you.
Yeah, after that happened on the episode and we ended up like not having anything extra to read for the last 2 weeks, I ended up I already read through Reign of Shadows: The Untold Stories before recording the last episode, and then after that episode I was like, okay, I'm going to go through all of Lost Head's current work for Vision of the Great Beings and read that too.
Yeah, I liked it because it gave me a little break from reading. I was able to recharge a little bit.
All right, I should be mentioning that I did also like the book.
Yeah,
that we're about to discuss.
And we should probably get into said book.
Yes, it's time for me to tell.
Well, now that's just silly. What would have possessed you to think that we should do that?
It's time for me to say what happened.
All right, good episode.
Yep. Good book. Okay, everybody, that's a wrap.
I
See you
see
next
when
time,
it's a
everyone.
wrap. That's my job.
You're being usurped.
Aren't I always?
Yes.
Unfortunately.
First, let's give background on what invasion is, because I think that's relevant here.
I think we all
Indeed.
know what an invasion is.
No,
Not to be confused
don't
with
talk
relevance.
down to me.
I live in America, so I was about to say I live in America, so I very much know what an invasion is, but that doesn't mean anything because people in America don't know what invasions are. People in America very much don't know what an invasion is. I am not qualified to know what an invasion is. But I do know what an invasion is.
I'm Polish. I understand it very well.
Oh dear.
God damn!
Liam has Poland jokes, I think.
What?
I don't remember.
What is happening?
Don't remember
Anyway.
why I said that.
Bionicle Legends Invasion was a cancelled Bionicle book in the Bionicle Legends series published by Scholastic, written by Greg Farshtey.
Oh.
And I don't think Greg was able to finish it. Is that correct?
Why
Or was it
not?
just not released?
He got a few chapters in, but then he received word that it was canceled, and he only had like an introduction, a few chapters, and BZ Power reached out to see if he'd be willing to publish it on their website, but they required him to commit to finishing it. So he sent them the introduction, but he couldn't commit to finishing it.
Hold on. Let me get this straight. I was not aware of this story. You're telling me that BZ Power reached out to Greg and begged while he was still working for Lego, and they basically just gave him the ultimatum of, "We'll publish this book if you finish it."
Yes.
That's some balls, Mike. That's some ball joints,
crazy.
my friend.
Wow.
That is quite a thing to say.
Corey Tozu's
At least
got some
publish what
balls,
was
Bob.
done. We don't gotta get the whole thing. It's
Wow.
canceled.
So we know that. So apparently, Hori Tohu's gears are attached to his head by ball joints.
It's this whole thing that let us have the prologue, which Wall of History has too, and it's at the very beginning of this one, just because it's added last minute after Wall of History made this discovery. So we kind of tacked it on at the beginning and reworked a little bit to fit it. But yeah, it's because of that we have even the prologue. But we might have had more if BZ Power hadn't required Greg to finish it.
That's a big shame, but you know what?
Honestly, that's kind of perfectly on brand for BZ Power. Let's be real here.
Yeah.
But yeah. So this is another example of a story here, which is like partially written by the author of the Bionicle books and also finished by the fans.
The ethereal and ever mysterious Jeff Douglas.
Yes.
I have a running gag where I say something amazing about mysterious. I can't think of anything.
I think the first one was he was the Chuck Norris of the Bionicle community.
Yeah, yes. Just audience, please just insert your own repurposed Chuck Norris joke here. Can't be bothered to think of nonsense right now.
What a Bionicle legend.
You stop that. That's
That's a
enough
good
out of
pun.
you.
I like that.
And roll credits.
What a Bionicle star.
What a Bionicle Antoka Mystica.
What are we, some kind of Federation of Fear?
All right. So that's the general backstory of this. And is it, correct me if I'm wrong, but is this like the first project in Myths and Legacy that like finished something that wasn't finished in the official media?
It was. Yes, I think you're right. It was. Uh-huh.
That's why it was the first thing I read from Myths and Legacy, because I was like, give me more Nika.
I think it was also the first full-length story that we did.
That's so strange because everything. It really goes to show that this is a good project because everything else has felt like it fits as well as anything else that would be unfinished, unproduced media that was always there and just left aside. But you're saying this was the first.
Yes. Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so that's the background on what Bionicle Legends Invasion is. Now I will get into what happens in it.
I like that Gadunka appears on the cover and never shows up once in the story.
That feels very classic.
It feels like the actual book sometimes. The cover doesn't really have anything to do with the plot. Or not much.
I never want my book. Okay. I never want my book covers to have to do with the plot. Did you know that for a time Wolverine was so popular that the comic book that Marvel would put him on comic book covers that he had nothing to do with?
Welcome back to the Marvel podcast.
Yes, Marvel, Homestuck, Pokemon. Marvel, Pokemon, Homestuck, everything your heart desires except Bionicle. Except Homestuck very much is Bionicle. Let's continue.
Indeed.
So, the prologue starts with the Toa Nika. They're being attacked by this mysterious foe.
Who, spoilers, will turn out to just be Pterodax, even though it's implied he's not.
Wait, let's keep some surprises.
No.
No. Just no.
So some mysterious foe. And the Power is about to shoot it. And as he's aiming, he's thinking, man, you're probably wondering how I got here. Yep, that's me. Lying on the ground, injured.
Maskless Hallie is Chris Hemsworth. You're probably wondering how I got here.
So that's the end of Prologue 1. Then we got Prologue 2, because we got 2 of them.
What is this? The Homestuck epilogues?
So Vakama, the Turaga, is having a vision. Ooh, because he's mentally ill like that.
I still think it's because he wore the Mask of Time that one time.
I think he's just ill.
Crazy.
But that's okay.
Yes, and that's fan interpretation is what it is. I think it's because his eyes are permanently engraved and are permanently immersed in the flow of time. You think he's crazy. We're both right. We're both wrong.
We're both crazy.
Oh, most certainly, I'm the crazy one.
So anyway, so he has a vision about Makuta, Mari Nui, and the Ignika. And he gets the sense that the Ignika, not the masked, but the people, will be in danger. And he's like, oh, brother.
Specifically, doesn't his vision involve, like, the Rahi from what was it? It was either Maze of I think it was Voyage of Fear.
Mm-hmm.
It was Mavra's Rahi, which
it might do. I don't think I wrote down that detail in my summary.
This specific vision of those Rahi and that invading army will actually become very relevant next episode when we cover Reign of Shadows: The Untold Stories. So this isn't just a one-off thing. It does pay off.
Excellent.
It does a payoff. Good.
So after his little vision, we start chapter 1 for real. So
for really reals.
So the Nika are going down the cord, and Kongu is complaining about tunnels. He's like, "Why are we always going through these dang things? Why did Toa always go through tunnels?"
He does the Indiana Jones quote.
Why is my entire life always comes down to flying on a spaceship towards my dad or a god-modded dog? That's a Homestuck reference.
So yeah, they're traveling down the cord. It's a long cord. The cord is tethering Voyanui to the sea floor, which is
if it were an actual cord, it would very much constantly be tangling itself up.
You're right.
Voyanui is just Matanui's headphones stuck in his pocket.
Evidently, it is full of twists and turns and convoluted labyrinths. Whether or not, even though it isn't actually a chord,
more like a spiral. Well, I mean, it depends on how much you zoom out, you know.
And Matoro very much zoomed out a lot.
Yes,
he did actually. Yes.
Yes. So. So they're doing that, and now we go back to the surface, sort of. And we have Vizon, our favorite man. And
yeah, we love Vizon.
No, he's non-binary now. I love him. He still uses he/him pronouns, but he's non-binary.
He tries to sneak past Umbra. So he's trying to go to the surface, and he's, hallucinating a conversation with Cardass, the dragon.
I love this.
It was pretty funny.
Umbra's like, 1, who the hell are you talking to? 2, I can see you. And 3, I'm not going to try to stop you from getting out.
Yeah, we're colleagues.
Did he always believe that Cardass could talk, or did he only just start to believe that it could talk when it became a dragon?
Well, he didn't have time to have a conversation with Cardass while he was fighting the Anika.
No, did he believe that it could talk while it was a spider?
Well, yeah, he was talking to it.
Oh, I remember now. Yes, indeed. Okay, I thought he was just monologuing to himself.
I'll be honest, I don't remember that at all.
Well, I mean, we did. In media, we didn't see what he like. We were seeing it from a reality perspective, so he was kind of like talking to himself, because we don't hear Fenrak respond because he can't, and neither can Cardass. But this is the one time where we see it from his perspective.
Yeah,
and he's hallucinating. So like we never see them have a conversation before in official media, but we see Vizon talking to Fenrak.
I want a Pokemon based on the Fenrik spider and Cardass dragon.
It makes me laugh how spiders never have 8 legs in Bionicle.
A bug type Pokemon that evolves into a dragon type when it's hit with fire type moves often enough.
I mean, we've already got the first part. That's just Trapinch, isn't it?
Oh my god! I'm naming a Flygon Cardass right away.
What a thing to say.
Anyway,
so yes, so Umbra lets him go. And
Umbrella.
Back to the Anika, the Toa Anika, that is. They find a fork in the tunnel.
You can't pronounce the difference between Ignika and Anika, can you?
Also, one has a G in it.
I'm stupid. Yes. Trapinch is a ground type. Never mind.
Yeah. Even I've had to clarify, like, Anika or Ignika.
Fire. See, lava, it's a misconception. Lava isn't fire. Lava is actually...
It's just rocks on fire.
Would you say that lava is more fire/rock or fire/ground? We're just getting into the difference between earth and stone again, aren't we?
Yeah,
kinda.
Ground is just small rock.
Let's stop getting distracted.
Season 1 conversation.
Yeah.
This is such an ADHD podcast. I'm sorry, darlings. Continue with the plot. I'm so sorry.
So they find a fork in the tunnel, and they're like, "All right, well, how are we gonna deal with this?" They decide to split up into 2 groups, and if the tunnels don't merge back up together in 2 hours, they'll backtrack and pick one.
Because that's not plenty of time for something to go completely wrong.
You're right. You're right. So one group is Kangu, Nuparu, and Huki, and the other is Jala, Holly, and Matoro.
I love at this point as well. It might be at this point or just around this point where Nuparu starts monologuing about how he basically wants to invent the adaptive armor.
Yes.
Yes, there are so many references throughout these stories to future stories, and I love it.
Yeah.
In fact, there's a reference. I believe it is this story. There's a reference later on when they're doing they're fighting the, what are they called?
The Zyglok?
Yeah, they're fighting them. They're fighting them. And they're like, they're immune to elements. And then they shoot them with glass. And
makes glass.
Yes.
And then they say, okay, it's official. Sand isn't an element. I love that. I love
That's
that.
actually, yeah.
I love it.
All right.
I love it.
So, Huki's group goes down their path, and they encounter footprints of some sort. Well, Jala contemplates the nature of destiny and fate. You know, they're very different activities. Sorry, what did you say?
No, I was just agreeing. He does.
Oh, I'm sorry. My bad.
Sometimes they don't think it be like it is, but it do.
They do be.
Sometimes it do.
Where was I? This wall of notes on my summary is so
over
massive.
there, clearly.
I have to
Just
find
do
where
what
it
I
was.
do and don't take notes.
Jesus. Oh yeah.
Wait,
Okay.
that's why I'm so ADHD, isn't it?
Matoru decides to scout with his Aiden, which makes his body go limp. It is lifeless at the moment.
They really should have like a papoose.
What?
They should rig up like
for Matoru, like a papoose for him.
like a little baby carrot. Oh, okay. I'm googling I'm googling papoose to make sure I'm referring to the right thing.
No,
and
You are.
I don't even know what that is.
That's the British term for it, which is why I'm surprised you're using the
it's
specific
the baby,
word.
It's the baby carrier that you wear as a vest.
Oh, I didn't know that had a name.
I'm so sorry.
It's a Lego piece that everyone was very excited about, but it's also, apparently there's a rapper, and apparently he's more important than the babies, because it's all Google wants to show me. This man.
Anyway,
This man who is very much
just
not a baby carrier.
So at this point, we're just making the episode thumbnail just Holly with Matoru and a papoose.
Yes.
Fantastic.
the silliest things.
I'll Photoshop. I will quickly half-assedly Photoshop it.
Most appreciated.
All right. So after scouting with his Aiden, Matoru returns to his body and says, "I found a big chamber." So,
big room over there.
yes. So they start.
It looks like it was made by babies. Let's go.
Yeah. So they start making their way to the big room.
My mistake. A papoose is actually is a different thing. I'm thinking of it's called a baby harness. It doesn't have a specific name.
Wait, so what's a papoose then?
No, it is called that in the UK. I know that.
Yeah.
Well, the UK isn't real, so who cares?
That's where the language comes from.
Yes, and the language sucks. Let's go.
And speak another one anyway. If you feel that
I wish I
way.
could. I'm clearly too ADHD to learn another language. Let's go, Bionicle. Go,
That's
move on.
silly. Josie could barely speak English sometimes. Never mind another language.
I'm not speaking English. I'm howling at you. I'm howling incoherent babbling at you and using psychic energies to project my thoughts into you.
I think that only works with people who believe in psychic energy.
We're reading a story where psionics is 1/16 of the universe.
Yes, but that's a story. I'm talking about real life, like me personally.
Real life is a story.
Anyways.
Yeah. Anyway, so shit. Where was? Oops. I mean.
Into the swear wiggler.
I'm just so overwhelmed with like this wall of text. That is my notes.
You took too many notes, my guy.
I took as few as I could, literally.
You took too many notes, and you had 2 weeks to do some pruning to these notes.
I pruned them.
You had 2 weeks to do more pruning.
I can't. This is as concise as I can make this.
What were you going to say, Gonel?
Here really quickly and say the prologue is the vision is exclusively Metru Nui images, or whatever, and taking those symbols and demonstrating their parallels in the Ignition trilogy. So the idea is that we saw all this unfold in Metru Nui at the beginning of the Great Cataclysm and the beginning of Makuta's final part of his great plan. Now we're seeing a lot of these same images unfolding again in the Ignition trilogy. So it's bringing it full circle, a lot of these ideas. These sea beasts, we have Mavrazrahi versus the Baraki. We have the Dark Hunters, Nidiki and Kreka versus the Paraka. And we have the invasion, Makuta's Visorak descending on Metru Nui, just as the Makuta descent on Cardinui in 2008.
As a wise man once said, it's like poetry.
It rhymes.
Yes, exactly.
One brain cell. One brain cell. We have one brain cell in this podcast.
And it's the legendary mask, the Vahi, versus the legendary mask, the Ignika.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And of course, how can you forget also tunnels?
Yes, tunnels, exactly.
So many tunnels.
We always have the tunnels. Anyway, yes. Now we're with Huki's group, and they find a lava flow. And I think it has that set, the Race for the Mask of Life set or something, that system set.
It does, and that's originally all it had.
I did not catch that.
That's originally all it had, but then we went back and added another section featuring this discovery that I just posted in Recording General.
Yes, it's a big rubber stopper. That's Voinui for you.
Oh, the Great Valve, huh?
Mm-hmm.
The fuel chamber. Oh. That's from the partial style guide for 06, is it not?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Glorious.
Interesting.
So the Ignition trilogy never explores the Matsunui robot aspect of what all that is. Like, we understand what the island of Matsunui is in the narrative, and we understand kind of what Metru Nui is, but the Ignition trilogy never reveals really what Voinui was. So this was an attempt to rectify that a bit.
Good.
And also to make this whole section more relevant rather than just finding these lava vehicles.
No, relevance was last episode.
Oh, right.
Oh, whoops. Man, all these tangents are making me lose my place.
My bad.
Every time I'm just like, where was I? And I have to like search my sheet. Okay.
Search your feelings, Luke. You know them to be true.
And they realize that the cord is tethering Voinui to the seafloor, and they're like, hey, it's kind of like a cord, isn't it?
This cord is shaped like a cord.
Sorry, Nui, more like Anchor Nui.
Exactly. So back with Jala's group, they discover the chamber is an abandoned Avmatoran village, which is, that's pretty nice. I like those guys.
Specifically, it seems like we've stumbled on the Nui caves here.
Yes.
Yep. And it's an important sequence break for this Metroid speedrun that the Nika are basically learning all of the lore for 2008 before they even step foot in 2007.
Yeah.
Interestingly, the Bionicle Encyclopedia from 2007 has a section on Avmatoran, so it was already being teased a little bit during this year.
I have that I have that book. I still have it. It's very nice.
I own nothing.
I learned a lot.
I own nothing and no one.
Well, you should never own anyone.
Yeah, no, you should continue that.
Yeah. So they find the Avmatoran village, and they discover the Krana are Avmatoran transformed by energized protodermis.
But very specifically, Nuparu is not here and never finds out this information on screen, which made me very upset.
Well,
they find out specifically that the Borak and the Krana are both Avmatoran transformed in different ways.
Yeah, that was one thing that I think we may need to discuss in continuity is like this story implies that the Matoran become Krana, but that's not quite right, is it?
I think there's some...
No, it is.
The Krana were made during the process, or they were side effects or something.
Yeah, that's what's stated in actual material.
There's little, some wording errors in here that need to be cleaned up a little bit.
I don't view it as a plot hole. I just think it needs some clarification.
Yeah,
I just viewed it as a original idea.
It frankly never made sense to me that the great beings would ever think, yes, let's take these robots that are capable of thinking and turn them into robots that are not capable of thinking. That sounds like an efficient use of programming.
I mean, in fairness, they weren't always capable of thinking. It was just one drone becoming another drone. So really, it was... I think the Bohrok are actually like one of the... How do I put it? They are some of the only beings in the universe pre-existing that were not touched by the Awakening.
Yeah, they're like the factory settings, essentially.
It's very interesting. It's very interesting that Matoran becoming Bohrok, in a way, factory resets them, as Max puts it.
You know what? It just occurred to me just now that the fact that Matoran transform into either Bohrok or Krana, it does actually make sense. The non-sentient part of the Matoran becomes the armor, and the sentient part and the part of the Matoran that was capable of becoming sentient becomes the Krana.
Makes sense.
At the time, the Matoran were not capable of becoming sentient, but because they had that capability, they could be converted into Krana.
I think it's just the organic protodermis components of the Matoran that is what turns into the Krana. Because the Bohrok themselves are like just mechanical drones.
And their brain transforms into a brain.
their muscle, their organic tissue turns into something organic.
something within the process becomes the Zyglak.
If I recall correctly, the only thing that was stated by Greg, because it's never been stated in canon where the Krana came from, but the only thing he said that I know for sure is that like the Krana are like a byproduct of it. But he never specified what they are, like what exact process they're a result of.
Well, apparently the Zyglak are a byproduct of a byproduct then.
Exactly. They're an accident. Ew, gross. But that's why I took it.
Some of my best friends are accidents. I don't know, actually.
But confirmed. The Zyglak are just aborted Krana.
but that's why I took this story, like with the Krana thing, as more of like an original idea because I know one of the planned things in this story, in the book that was canceled, was them learning the secret of like the Krana and like the Zyglak. But it was never said anywhere what specifically that secret was. So that's why I take it as this was an original. The concept that the Krana directly come from the Avamatoran as well as more of like an original idea rather than something that was strictly canon. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Am I right, Jeff?
I swear that I read somewhere that both the Bohrok and the Krana were created from the Avamatoran. But if you say that it hasn't, you're more of an authority on this than I am.
I'll check our notes.
Yeah, because I remember specifically they just, like, during the scene where the Toa find out about the Avamatoran turning into Bohrok, they're just like they're like empty Bohrok, I'm pretty sure. And we know that Krana are created through some other process.
Yeah.
You know, like something the Barag do, you know?
Mm-hmm. I'll see. I'm very curious now.
But what I am confident about, at least, you know, right now, or for years I have been confident about it, is that like the actual detail of how Krana are created was never actually revealed anywhere. Just like given vague hints that there's a mysterious process that happens. We know what it's not, you know?
Mm-hmm.
We don't know exactly what it is.
We know what it's not, and it definitely isn't round. That's an SCP reference. This is an SCP Foundation podcast now.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Right? The only thing we know for sure in canon, based on whatever, Greg has said, is that the Zyglek and the Krana are results both come from the same process.
Mm-hmm.
Or like the Zyglek are a byproduct of the process of making
wiggly.
Krana.
Right.
Yeah.
Wiggly little guys.
Your destiny is to either become very wiggly or very angry.
Wiggly little guys.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But because it's not like, because it's like still deliberately vague in canon, it still works here the way it's presented in the story, because we just don't know,
Right.
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I like
we
it.
canonically don't know for sure how Krana come around. Just that they're connected to the Zyglek.
Oh, when a daddy Krana and a mommy Krana like each other very much.
Yes. So anyway, that's my TED talk on the nuance of it.
Okay. Roll credits.
So they learn of the Zyglek as well. They're like, oh man, those are crazy. Anyway, so Hookie's group bursts through the wall, and then the team is reunited at this point, and they're like, yo, we got some guests, and they're a little bit upsetty. They're like, we don't like you here. So
Go home.
So we take a break from that, and we return to the surface, and the story goes back to the surface. Vaison parts with Cardass, and he starts following the Anika's footprints.
He does indeed.
Vaison starts following the footprints of the Anika, while Cardass starts going off after a very conspicuous green dragon that has appeared.
I thought it was the other way around.
No, I think he spots the Tatarak, and he's like,
No.
He sees it's the Tatarak that spots Cardass.
Yeah. It's someone sees something red in the distance, and I was very confused, and I had to Google it, and I guess you could describe the Cardass dragon as red. It's just red isn't the primary color of the Cardass dragon. It's mostly black, but okay, I guess there's some red in there.
But so anyway, so then right after that, the Kraka and Tatarak split up. They got freed from the field of shadows in the previous book, chronologically speaking.
Yes,
indeed.
And that was a nice moment. I liked that because I love those characters.
Aye.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and that's when the Tatarak is like, "Is that a dragon? I'm gonna go after that."
Oh, I'm kind of a dragon. I'm gonna see if I can answer my question. Like, why the fuck am I here?
What is the answer? Supposed to be from the south, but I'm a little bit north of that. I'm still south, but a little bit more north of that.
It almost gets something that it wants more than an answer. It almost gets sent home.
But alas, it does not.
Almost.
Yeah, no, the Tatarak is never allowed anything nice.
No.
What is it? Like someone who knows Botar sees this shit, sees the dragons about to fight each other, and is like, Botar, send this dragon home.
Wait,
and then
that happens later. We'll get to that.
Oh, okay, we're not there yet? Okay.
No, we got a lot to do before then.
Hold on, my mistake. Agatha, go home. I am home.
All right. So, where was I? Oh, yes. So then Kraka decides, hey, there's a Matoran village. I'm going to make contact, but I'm going to make myself look like Toa no Kama because I want to be perceived as friend.
She always does that. That's her default form at this point, is just no Kama.
Because no Kama's one of the best characters ever.
It's because she identifies as a woman, and there aren't a lot of options for female Toa that she knew.
She must be blue.
Yeah, she's not very creative at coming up with her own. She hasn't come up with her own Toa Sona yet.
Is she even
in
capable?
In that old book, Nokama was like the Toametru that she was in disguise as the longest, I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Plus,
I'm not sure if she's even capable of transforming into things she hasn't physically seen, or amalgamations of things she's seen.
And plus, if Isola is any indication, Nakama's got that badonkadonk.
If the movies are any indication.
The movies will have you think otherwise. But that's another thing.
There's got to be a reason Vizola was stalking this girl.
She just likes her personality, man.
Yeah, and I like her personality. And her assets.
Oh.
I don't actually care. I'm just saying things that I feel like I should say.
So the Kratakal, if you remember him, and other Dark Hunters, I think it's Amphibax is there as well. They're investigating the Paraka stronghold on behalf of the Shadowed One to be like, where's the Paraka? They have not reported in.
I love how very specifically it refers to them by their quote-unquote code names. And Vizon is apparently the spider now, which I didn't quite get.
Oh, well, because he's
assume
not a spider.
it's in... I only assumed it was in reference to Fenrock, but how would the Dark Hunters know that?
Well, the same way he knows about Vizon's existence to begin with.
I just find it amusing that we have now canonized their names that Greg hated.
Yeah, but I'm disappointed. I'm very disappointed.
Explicitly, I very much remember very few things from that podcast. But when we interviewed Greg, we asked him about the names, and he said, "Oh, I always hated those nicknames."
I'm extremely disappointed, though, that Vizok was at no point referred to as the Bimbo.
Well, because he's not a bimbo, he's a thok.
Okay, it was like, I think the tagline was like 100% bronze, 0% bimbo.
Yeah.
We're losing the plot a little bit.
And now we've got more things from Faber most recently, where his original name was apparently Grinon.
Grinon?
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah.
But don't they all have grins on?
What a silly thing to say. All we say are silly things.
Yes, I'm very silly. I'm very silly. I'm the silly one.
A mysterious spring has
nice.
appeared on my desk, and I don't know where it came from, and it's stressing me.
Excuse me? What?
A spring has appeared on my desk, and I don't know where it came from.
Now, are we talking like a mechanical spring, or do you just have like a volcanic geyser has just spontaneously erupted on your desk?
The metal kind, the spirally one.
Maybe we should derail this podcast more and see if more appear. Perhaps you have
I got a feeling it's coming from my suspension arm. But
perhaps you have discovered.
But where'd it come from?
Infinite.
No, it's the wheels falling off this podcast.
Okay, I gotta continue. I gotta do my job.
I think it's time
supply in the ocean.
I think it's time for this tangent to bounce.
Yes, you're right.
Wonka.
Take a look at my notes, see where I left off. Okay. So
my wife.
So Kratakal is met by Pterodax, in smoke form.
Return of the fart cloud.
Hey. He is told to tell the Shadowed One that the Paraka have been captured by the Makuta, so he could stop looking into it. And he does that. Kratakal is like, "Aight, cool, bet." And that's
first he's a bit like, but like the Shadowed One, we can't tell him. Like, we can't have him know anything. And Makuta's just like, he's nothing. Ignore him. It's only the Shadowed One.
Comstock has a hot dog girl who tried to kill herself to save to banish a demon, and her last words were "bet," because the demon thought that she would. The demon thought that she wouldn't actually do it, and she was like, "Bet." The demon left.
All right.
Anyway, hot dog girls are not in this story, I don't think. Bionicle.
All right. So
shut up, Agatha.
So as the Paraka themselves are mutating into snake boys, they resolve to follow the Yanika and recover the Mask of Life.
Until they decide, wait, what if we just wait here?
Wait,
that's later on.
That's at the end.
But I talked to Gonel about this earlier because, again, figures every time I talk to you about very specific things, you actually end up in the show for that episode.
Yes, it's true, isn't it?
But no, I talked to you specifically about the Paraka at this point because the descriptive language is like their limbs are shrinking and they're like the size of it's like Radok is like the size of a Matoran now. And I want to imagine that at this point in their transformation, they just look like the McDonald's toys.
Oh, glorious! Glorious! Yes!
The McDonald's toys are canon now.
The McDonald's toys are canon now! Yes! Dad, can we get McDonald's after this podcast?
I'm afraid not, my friend.
No, not you. Cool dad.
So,
Liam is cool dad.
Oh yeah. We're back with the Toanika. They're fighting the Zyglak. The Zyglak are like, leave our home.
Go.
Go away.
Vengeance.
I want revenge. So, you know, they do their stuff. Huki's doing some elemental shenanigans, and they open up a hole through the floor, and then it turns out they're in the sea because they're at the edge of the cord, and they're like, "Whoops!"
Yeah.
That would be quite spooky. I would like to go through that.
They're like, "Oh, we're in the water now," so they scramble to get back inside the cord, and they do it. So
they do it, and it was good.
Yes, I demand it.
If only the Yanika had the foresight to make them amphibious.
Yeah.
One day.
This is where we establish, too, that the sand is not an element.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
So they...
yes, I spoiled that.
They delay the Zyglak by creating glass walls and layers of them so they can make their escape.
Layers! Onions! Gender is like onions! Trolls cannot eat them without going into anaphylactic shock!
I'm sorry, but with the way you like blew out your microphone there, it sounded like you just screamed, "Layers! Bunions!"
Hello, I am B. I will leave now because I am very silly.
So,
Jordan is the right one.
So what happens next? Shoot. Okay,
I just have in my notes. All I have in my notes is Old War Rahi 2. So I think we're going to Axon now.
Sees a Tatarak lumbering by, and he's like, "Is that a Tatarak? What the hell?"
It looks and sounds just like the one from that one time.
Yeah,
I love like how the sheer number of stories that reference Old War Rahi, either directly or indirectly.
So then Kraka comes up to him and is like, "Hi, I'm Toa Kraka," and then he just, Axon just ignores her.
"Hello, yes, I am real Toa. Would you like to go skateboards?"
Just looks at her and moves on, and he's like, "I gotta go take care of this."
Is she at the part where she tries to talk to a Matoran yet?
No, not yet.
Okay.
I will say when it happens. So, then back into not back. Sorry. Vazon slips past the two of them and is like, "All right, I'm gonna go into the cord now." And then the Tatarak and the Cardass Dragon are fighting each other. It's a big kaiju monster battle.
Yep, Bionicle has kaijus now. Kaiju battle, big kaiju battle.
Always did.
The Tatarak wins.
This is what 5 or 6 years before the giant robot battle would happen.
You're right.
This is the two anime staples of all time.
But the Tatarak wins, and Axon is like, "Hey, yo, Botar, come over here." And then Botar is like, "All right,
And yet again,
can you
the
send this
Tatarak
fucking
is
Tatarak home? I don't know why, but it reminds me of the one that Brutaka fucked that one time.
And then yet again, a Tatarak is unceremoniously dropped into a city.
The same one! The same one!
What is the answer?
The
answer is now Zia, apparently.
The question the Tatarak is always asking is, why the fuck am I not where I'm supposed to be right now? Where am I? Why am I here? Why am I here? Why am I here? And now, once again, it was just about to be sent home, but Botar was like, "Hey, I have to disrupt the war effort, so I'm gonna send the Tatarak not home. I'm gonna send the Tatarak there."
You are now in Zia. Go fight a mountain.
I feel so sorry for Potato the Dragon. I love him so much. I want to build this fucker. I want to build this fucker and put him on my desk.
How sad. But so Botar's like, that was funny. That was hilarious, lol.
Botar, you deserve to get your shit kicked in.
Yeah, don't worry. He'll get his karma in like the last episode.
Why not send the Tatarak home and send the?
He already did in last. Never mind. I'm silly. I know.
No, the Tatarak. This Tatarak has not been sent home yet. This Tatarak hasn't been sent home since it was originally summoned.
Yeah.
Send the Cardis to disrupt your war effort, my guy. I hate Botar. Botar is a meaty face.
That we will see Cardass again in I think it's one of Lost Head's stories for Vision of the Great Beings, actually.
Botar will return in Infinity War.
So now Karaka talks to a Matoran and learns what happened on Voyanui. And then is given directions to where Metro Nui is.
I don't think it's specified who she's talking to.
The Matoran she talks to is so fucking annoyed. Like she's acting.
We've had a grand total of 19 Toa canisters show up on our island within the last week, and maybe like 5 of them have actually been Toa.
Yeah,
that's pretty hilarious.
She's acting like that. Like that real estate agent from that SpongeBob episode, the one everyone knows, the one who goes crazy at the end and says she's Squidward. But before that part is really pissed off. Like, I don't know what's going on, but I don't like it. I don't trust you people. I don't trust anybody claiming to be Toa anymore. Fuck you and fuck everyone who looks like you. Oh, that sounds very racist. I don't like that.
The radio will not be happy.
Undo.
At that point, she gives her the information anyways, and then at that point it's like, I see ya, transforms into a dragon and flies away.
It's accurate because most of the Matoran in the Matoran universe don't like Toa, and I think this Matoran might be joining them.
Very specifically, it's the culture of Matoran basically anywhere south of Metru Nui that just have no confidence in Toa.
Well, technically, Voyanui is south of Metru Nui, so it's just also south up.
I mean, basically everything is south of Metru Nui.
It's literally the head of the robot. It's the brain of the robot.
Nothing is north of Metru Nui.
Yeah, they're confused at the concept of north.
They're like, "What's do you mean the tip of Metru Nui? Yeah. That's as far as it goes."
I swear it was. We read something in a story in recent weeks where someone mentioned the idea that something could be north of Metru Nui and was confused.
Yeah, it was Heart of Metru Nui when they were talking about like the icebergs with the Rahi coming in. I forget their stupid names. Yeah. And there's like, well, they're coming from the north. There's nothing in the north. The Frostalus.
It's one of my favorite Rocky names, you ass.
Yeah. I just finished editing that episode today. I should know this.
Yeah, you ass.
All right, that's
one of my favorite Rocky names, especially if it's relevant to your work. I'm hungry. I get to go away.
So, Makuta, in smoke form, is trying to hurry down the court to stay ahead of the Paraka. because he's like, I don't want them inconveniencing me. But Vaison ends up getting ahead of the Yanika because he took a different tunnel down the route. And he's like, oh, wow, this one is a shortcut. And he decides, you know what? I'm going to jump scare them. I'm going to wait in this room.
I think at some point during this exchange, the Yanika are having a conversation as well. I don't remember the exact nature of the conversation. It's been like a month since I read this at this point. But I just have the legend continues reference in my notes here. They were talking about a specific, I forget the context, but they mentioned something along the lines of like, there was a specific set of Matoran that were looking for the realm of Artaka during the hunt for the Mask of Life, or the Mask of Light, and that was fun.
We'll get to this. I enjoyed that. But but then Smoke Makuta is like, I'm gonna fill the room at the ceiling, and Vaison doesn't notice because he's kind of silly.
Not bright. Not bright.
Yes, his teeth glow a little bit though.
Vaison's actually very smart. He's just crazy. He's like Sheen from Jimmy Neutron. He's smarter than Jimmy. He's just crazy.
I don't know, Sheen.
Hello, welcome to the Jimmy Neutron podcast.
Jesus, I'm almost done. I'm almost done this first page.
Jesus can't help you now.
Okay, I know where I am. All right. So Motaro convinces Jala to let him scout ahead with his Aiden. And he's like, all right, fine. So while scouting, Motaro finds that the Zyglok have disappeared through other pathways, and he also sees Vaison's waiting for the Toa Nika in the room. He's like, hey, I'm gonna get him.
It's just that one meme of like the guy standing behind a tree with like his hands together. It's like, yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
So, back with the group, Holly takes off her mask because she got like a massive headache. It was crazy. She's like, ow.
This is something.
Ouchie, my skull.
Yep.
And she blinds everyone in the room.
Halle Mary's mask, it gives her headaches because it just does that. And
that's Halle Anika's mask.
Liam, I get confused. Okay.
No, it's not okay. We shall shame you.
Yeah.
I always feel shame.
Shun the fake fan.
I always feel shame all the time.
So as soon as she takes off her mask, Motaro's body resuscitates, and from Aiden use, and the Anika and he's like, "Hey, Vaison is right there," and Vaison's like, "Oh, you spoiled the surprise."
You bugger!
You stole my thunder.
At that point, this is the part where we get into the single most unhinged moment in the entirety of the Myths and Legacy catalog.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Vaison's just like, but what if there were 3 of me?
My name is 4.
Yeah, why does he do this?
Because numbers, so he can fight 6 people more easily.
Oh yeah. And apparently Vaison has seen the Cat in the Hat.
He's aware.
Yeah, I noticed that.
He just flat out says that. Well, I could call these guys.
Thing 1 and Thing 2. But I'm gonna call them Faison and Shazul.
I could call these guys Faison and Shazul, but I'm gonna call them Thing 1 and Thing 2 instead.
So the Anika fight Vaison, Thazom, and Shazul after they bicker amongst themselves about who is who.
Specifically, this fight lasts for like 5 minutes, and Jala just completely curb stomps them.
Yeah, so
he's like, takes the spear fusion,
puts them back together, and then he melts the spear fusion.
That's quite enough out of you.
Vaison is not a strong boy, and ripping himself in half doesn't help. It just makes him weaker.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He's a silly boy. I love him.
So yes. So after Jala, melts the spear fusion, the Zyglak emerge from the shadows because they've been watching this, and the Zyglak have been put under this like illusion, and they're seeing the Enika as other Zyglaks, so they're not aggro on them anymore.
Yeah, and that just seemed kind of random until later in the story.
Yes, and we'll get to that. And so they take away Vizon.
I kind of figured maybe that's the reason that Hallie's mask was giving her a headache, but it doesn't do that.
No, 100% in this case, it was this entity.
Absolutely.
Because, they can do that. Or at least that's how I saw it. It's very obviously the entity to me.
Hallie's mask giving her so much headache she has to rip it off is related, but it has...
It couldn't be that the mask of detection can't just be it detects the mask of life, because that would make the mask completely useless for literally
it can detect
anyone.
Other things too. I forgot about that because she can see
Matoro. It can detect lots of stuff. It just
specifically she can detect pterodax.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I can detect
the smoke man who was in the room.
Mm-hmm. He sniffs the smelly fart cloud.
It's
nasty.
It's like the scope. It's like the scope visor or the Metroid Dread equivalent. She can see lots of esoteric things.
Yes, I forgot about that detail. Actually, but it is definitely because of the entity's presence.
Yes, there is a mysterious force that is making the Zyglak go away.
Yes. So Matoro is then convinces Holly to keep her mask off so they can see through the tunnels. And then, he kind of gently takes it away from her. He's like,
Hallie,
I'll hold that for you.
Hallie, keep your top off.
We need a flashlight down here.
Yeah, we need a flashlight. God
damn it.
That was a joke. I actually didn't have a joke there. I just sort of said it for no reason.
And I wasn't even thinking that. The joke just made itself.
All right.
I wasn't thinking. That's it. That's the joke. I wasn't thinking.
So... now we go down underwater, and we're introduced to a pair of mutant pit prisoners after one of them scares away a Komatorn from Marinui, whose name is Barek. And now Barek, he'll be important later, but he's looking for Reza, who died in the actual book that came out instead of this one. Rest in peace.
Mm-hmm. Somebody died?
Off screen. It's okay.
That's not very bonkle.
So the red one decides they should hunt for food in the cord because they're not allowed to.
I like that is just their names. The red one.
Yeah, at this point,
the green one.
They're identified as the red one. So they start swimming there until they find 5 other pit survivors. And these ones, no one respects these people. They're the losers. And then, they never show up again. And then so they leave them behind and they go to a cave full of equipment where they meet up with 4 other mutos like themselves. And that's when we learn that they're called the Barakoa.
With the way these characters are described, yet another thing I brought up with Gonel, but I always thought that my headcanon is that they look like the alt build for the Boxer.
That's smart.
Build Boxer. The way they describe themselves, they are the alt build for the Boxer, basically.
Pretty much.
See, in my head, I was picturing the Hero Factory invasion from below mechs.
Okay,
with the cockpits like that as being like their faceplates. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the alt build for the Boxer. Liam, are you an idiot?
What?
I get where you're going for, but Liam, the Toa don't recognize these guys as former Matoran in fancy armor. This doesn't cover them very much. So why would it?
Look, I don't know
I like the idea that that they look kind of like this, though.
But that's what I said.
I just called you an idiot to be funny. I like where you're going, Liam. I like where your head's
Question
at.
to be asked, Gonel, do you have any idea of what Jeff was going for with this?
The amazing Jeff Douglas. He farts pure gold.
I think. I don't know what I think it was just that they're wearing these things and they've just become monsters because they were mutated into their armor. I don't think there was any particular appearance in mind.
So there was no, like, direct inspiration for these characters, like with the Bareg spider. This was just something that was a means to an end to drive a plot point.
Yeah, just something for people to visualize. I don't think there was any... I don't know if anything in particular.
Well, I like the idea. I like Liam's idea. I just called him an idiot to be funny. I like the idea that they look kind of like the outbuild for the boxer.
Yeah, that's kind of my headcanon now.
Obviously, maybe encasing the Matoran inside a little bit more than that, because it can't just be the Matoran is just right there front and center, because the Toa don't recognize that that's what these guys are.
Well, hey, maybe it's like the Scopio in The Legend Reborn that still has Tellerus inside of it, despite the fact that it's not the animatronic Scopio, it's just the animal.
I refuse to accept that is canonically what that thing looked like. I think that was just a goof on the part of the enemy.
There's also Spiria with like the vestigial shadow Matoran attached to his back that's never addressed at any point ever.
My guy,
it's just a second head.
Maybe he actually did just lobotomize Matoran so that he could utilize the gimmick without having to deal with a sidekick.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway,
that sounds like a thing a Matoran would do. I mean, Okuda.
So the Barakoa, they decide to ride war tortoises to the cord, and they look really red. You know, they be fast.
Yeah,
they be fast.
They're like the tortoises. They'll be so quick.
I imagine that they're not, because they're tortoises.
They must be quicker in water.
Yeah, but
it's a tortoise.
That's actually a good point. Tortoises are they're land reptiles.
I know. It's just the mental image of going to war riding a tortoise.
You know, if spiders
crazier than the to be fair.
If spiders only have 4 legs in this world on average, I'll allow tortoises being a little bit quick.
Yeah, I love.
It's more describing what they look like.
I love shenanigans. They're comfy and easy to flare.
So yeah, the war tortoises go to the cord and they climb up the cord.
War tortoises.
And there they encounter the Toa Naika. And they're like, oh. So the Barakoa start battling the Toa Naika and Mataro's spirit from up above, because he's not actually in his body. It's something else that's possessing him. Oh no.
Oh, mysterious.
I wonder what it could be.
I know who it is.
And I wonder if it's from if it was what Hallie was talking about at the beginning.
I wonder if it's green and stinky.
Hey, I don't think it smells. Anyway,
what you think?
I'm sorry. Have you ever been near an antidermis vat?
Do you know that antidermis is scentless? It doesn't smell bad.
He's not a literal fart clone.
Makuta sympathizer.
Well, they're cool, right? They're cool as hell.
Anyway, there's shenanigans.
So Matoro's watching and he's like, I think I know who took my body. And it's Makuta. Oh
my goodness.
That's in my notes. I finally revealed it's Makuta.
In my notes, I just have first reference to Pterodax, and I don't remember this, so I think he was referred to by name at some point here by somebody.
Yeah, it was one of the Barakoa, like, it's you. And then he gets cut.
Yes.
But anyway, so in Matoro's body. He tricks Holly into destroying the Barakoa's breathing tanks, thus killing them, which is metal as hell.
It's also pretty sad, too, that these are the only... Well, they're not... Well, I guess one of them is still alive, but, like, these are, like, the only Matoran from the Metru Nui population that still have their memories.
Yep.
Because they were sent to the pit before the Great Cataclysm.
That's true. That's true. Besides
and
Mavra.
Makuta just tricked the Toa into killing them. Which is against the Toa code, but...
So yes, the way he tricks Holly into doing this is by kind of influencing her through hallucinations that the breathing tanks are functioning like infected Kanohi and are controlling the people. So that's why
also probably just using like his fear power, isn't it?
That's what oxygen does. Donald Trump isn't a bad person. He is just the air he breathes. Someone should strangle him. Cut that out. Cut that out. Don't air that.
And don't say it.
Don't
say things you aren't prepared to handle the consequences for.
I have ADHD. Really bad ADHD. I cannot function.
I'm sorry.
Excuse me, I have a bad case of treason.
Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly. ADHD and treason are synonyms.
All right. So,
Jesus Christ,
so,
Agatha, shut the
everyone's
fuck up,
shocked
let
that
me
Holly
handle
did
this.
this, but like, you murdered them.
No, I didn't. I thought the air was making them crazy. I thought being able to breathe was making them crazy.
And then Korakoa, who is the white one, is like, wow.
Wow, kind of racist that the only one you let live was the white one.
Silly.
And he would say that because they were Matoran who led the Civil War.
Yes, exactly. That's what I was about to say. It reveals that they were the leaders of the Matoran Civil War.
Yes.
So, yes.
Yeah. They were Matoran who built themselves fancy armor to become wannabe Toa for propaganda purposes.
Exactly. And yeah. And that's when it's discovered that Makuta has been possessing Motoro's body. Because Huki deduces it. He's like, hold on a second.
And that the Toa and Naika were all war criminals during the Civil War.
Yeah, that comes first, because once he finds out that Makuta is in Motoro's body, he just instantly kills him.
He just beans him immediately.
Exactly. Makuta's like, ouch.
Yeah, he's like, he goes one by one, looking at all the Toa and Naika and telling them, I recognize all of you. You did this during the Civil War, and you did that during the Civil War, and you're cool.
Yeah, you weren't involved, and that was Motoro.
And then he gets Motoro,
he's like,
and then he's like, I don't actually remember you at all, but also I know that that's not you actually.
And this is a great explanation as to why the Matoran like Jala are just such natural born leaders, because
they're not.
They were war generals in Metru Nui.
Yeah, they're not natural born leaders. They were trained already.
Yeah.
They had experience.
Yeah, you can wipe someone's memories, but they'll still remember like technical information.
Yeah, there'll still be instincts that will be ingrained into your being.
They'll still remember how to ride a bike, and they won't remember why.
Yeah.
But anyway, so
unless they
Makuta
don't know how to ride a bike, and then it would be weird if they did know how to ride a bike after getting permission.
So Makuta kills Korakoa, and Huki's like, that's Makuta.
Yeah, because
we're gonna take a break from
bionic man.
Huki figured it out before the one who was getting a headache because of the Makuta vibes. Huki! The guy
they stopped having a headache when they took the mask off.
The guy who headbutt rocks as a child figured it out before Hallie, who took her mask off. Even Toa risked passing out if they go without wearing their mask for too long, apparently. But she was like, oh wow, my mask is giving off serious bad vibes. I better take this off. And she was like, I better not question why it's giving me bad vibes.
This has to be a bad side effect. This can't be like the purpose of the mask. No.
Yeah.
Yes. So
but also, we didn't. From Inika's perspective, they didn't have much time to like question.
Obviously, the lesson.
Question it.
Obviously, the lesson we should be taking here is that headbutting boulders makes you smarter.
Yeah, because like the moment she took off, the moment she had her headache, the big headache, and took off her mask from the pain, they've been fighting nonstop essentially.
Yeah. Yes, but Huki's also been fighting nonstop. But he was like, "Yeah, the Matoro's obviously possessed by the devil. I know this because I used to headbutt boulders as a child. That makes me smart."
Huki's just really observant.
Yes, if anybody listening who wants to apply for priesthood, just smack your head against rocks over and over again, and that'll help. And that'll help on the priest test. You'll be able to recognize Satan anywhere.
All right, moving on. So now we're going back to our boy Barek, the Komatoran from Mari Nui. And he finds some underground ruins from some civilization. And he finds a video screen, which is wild, with a little time capsule from an ancient Agori city that lived on Aqua Magna. Oh boy.
Specifically, this seems to be the fortress of the Element Lord of Water. I believe.
Oh, that's me.
No, I think it was just a city, an Aqua Magna city.
The Element Lord of Water is way too evil to have such a this guy seems like really sad and stuff, and I don't think she would have let someone so sad live. Oh wait, no, is the Element Lord of Water? What gender are they?
He's a dude.
Sorry, water is usually women's, so I got confused again. I do that.
Yeah.
Especially when I'm talking all casual like this, because the one that talks all slowly and elegantly is the smart one of me. But I'm like, the Element Lord of Water is a real douche and has no use for depressed people and would not have let this person live. So this is not the Element Lord of Water's fortress, you idiot. Just because it's underwater now doesn't mean it was always underwater.
Well,
idiot.
No, but my logic is that the Element Lord of Water's fortress was specifically on Aqua Magna.
Yeah?
So that was the first thing that came to mind.
Your logic is stupid. It wasn't always Aqua Magna. It used to be part of Spherus Magna. It used to be part of Spherus Magna, stupid.
Aqua Magna was still referred to as Aqua Magna when it was just an ocean on Spherus Magna.
Yeah, it was called the Great Ocean.
Sense.
That's what it means, isn't it?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Same with Boda Magna and Barra Magna. They were still called that. They were still called that before they were removed from Big Ball.
Yeah, Spherus Magna is great ball.
Yeah,
I'm very, very hard to squeeze my brain like a stress ball. Stay smart right now. I'm very
great ball.
Yes.
So anyway. I think that was really rad. The little thing.
Who just squeaked?
Wasn't me.
Squeaky ball.
But it's getting hot in here. Jesus.
So take off all your clothes.
Please.
I'm not wearing any clothes.
Coming from your concubine, that's saying something.
I'm not wearing any clothes because I have a condition. It's very hot all the time, forever. I live in hell. Constant agony.
All right. So, okay.
This chapter was another instance of an expansion on the original draft, because originally he was just going to explore the prison, the former pit, but then we went back and we're like, we could do some foreshadowing here, because Aqua Magna's never been named as an ocean before 2009. That we don't have a name for the ocean, and we could do a little setup here, and also show a bit of what civilization on the ocean would have been like. So, and it was
like Atlantis.
Oh, you're saying that Liam's not stupid. Okay.
Well, yeah,
because the water Agori at that point in time, didn't they have like floating cities?
We don't know that, but that's what we're going with.
That's the conjecture right there.
Yeah.
Well,
think Stargate Atlantis.
I like it.
What this actually is Mr. Faber's connection to Lego Atlantis.
Yes, yes. Exactly.
It's all the Lego themes are connected. It's all one universe. It's all one story, even though they don't fit together.
Worked for Lego Atlantis.
Mm-hmm.
Lego Atlantis was a rad theme, though. That was nice.
I mean, you joke about that, but one of the Flash games that was on the Lego website at the time for Lego Atlantis had an Olmec as a treasure in it.
I remember. I played that game.
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
Your
wow,
face.
that's the Bionicle in it.
That is
anyway,
quite cool.
That's the Bionicle
that's that. I think that was really cool. Now, back to the battle with Matoru Makuta, that is. And he is just absolutely wiping the floor with them.
Using every single power at his disposal for the first time ever.
Exactly. He's just embarrassing them.
He is deliberately using more power. He is deliberately exerting more power than any Makuta ever will in any Bionicle story. Specifically because he wants to train the Toa into learning how to fight Makuta for next year's story.
And then they never do.
I'm sure someone will write that story for you, Liam.
Instead, the Toa Nuva get training in the form of Icarax wiping the floor with them in Karzani and then piecing out.
Liam, darling, I'm sure someone will write that story for you for your project here, for your little project here. I don't know why I keep attributing this project to you. Who directs it again? Which of you directs this project?
One of them.
Yeah.
You. I'm sure you. Make someone write that thing that we're talking about. I already lost track of what we're talking about.
All right.
It's very good.
So after this battle, the Nika, we've gone full circle to the first prologue, and the Nika, they threaten
It's very good.
Yes, they threaten to destroy Motoro's body, and Terry is like
with a Reese's cup.
Yeah,
just like in Homestuck.
Terry is like, okay, I guess I'll get out.
Yes, after
I love
Hallie
how
says,
there's a very specific effort
like, you wouldn't kill your best friend, and then Hallie says, bet.
I like that there's a very specific, a very deliberate attempt here as well during Makuta's monologuing to describe his rather abrupt change in characterization between the 01 and 03 stories and the 04 and beyond stories. And also it explains how it takes a lot of effort to use all these powers, and that's why he doesn't normally do it.
Yes, he explicitly states that is the strategy to fighting a Makuta. You get them to exert themselves too much, but because all these powers will break the bodies that they live in.
Yeah, using the like different powers in rapid succession.
Yes. They have 42 different powers, but using them all at once like this is too strenuous.
Yeah, they got to use one for a while, with that to stay safe.
Yes,
they got to commit to one for the time being. Maybe two.
And Makuta and Pterodax at one point during the battle, he realizes, this is probably going to be the last time I use any of these powers because I'm going to become a robot.
God.
I'm going to become a god soon, and at that point, I don't really have to do. I'm going to be controlling the weather and stuff.
He already does do that technically, but he can do it for the whole world.
Yeah, but he can do it passively.
Exactly.
Like he has to exert himself to control the weather now, but as a giant robot, he
just has to think about it.
It's going to be like blinking.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, so Motoro finally gets to return to his own body. Hooray!
To control the weather by blinking.
He possesses the body of the Korakoa and fuses the other dead Barakoa to himself with the Shadow Hand in order to, create a new sort of stronger form.
But Korakora can Tiktu. Bakora Kayeta.
What are you trying to say here?
Barakoa? I'm so bad at words. Bakora Kayata. I never could pronounce Kayata. The thing where multiple things combine together.
Stroke. I'm having a help.
It's more accurate to say that I'm always having a stroke. I am perpetually having a stroke. I had one really bad...
He's trying to say Barakoa Kaita.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I was very confused as to what it was even being attempted to be said. I was like,
I had a brain tumor when I was young, and from that day, I have always and forever felt like I have been having a stroke nonstop forever.
I know.
Kaita. I need to practice pronouncing that. Kaita.
Anyway, so
Barakoa Kaita.
So the Yanaika are like, well, we're just gonna destroy this body. And then Makura's like, oh no. So he's like,
now that we know that physically destroying your body doesn't violate the Toa code because you're a fart cloud, we can just blow you up, dude. Fuck it.
So he's like, oh no, I don't want to be put in a Toa seal. That would actually disrupt my plan, TM.
Yeah, they all start charging a Nova Blast, so he just shoots off at one of them at the right moment.
Quick, Nuparu, get a shrink Kanoka and fly up his ass.
No!
Yeah, so he just shoots at Hallie because Hallie's just a big punching bag. The entire Toa and Nika here, she's just a big punching bag, and that's why.
He disrupts Hallie, so he's not sealed in a Toa seal, but the body is destroyed, and Makuta pieces out.
Yeah, and they think that they accomplished what they were trying to do. They think that he was deliberately trying to stop them from killing him. He didn't care if they blew up his body. He was deliberately just trying to get them to miss. To get one
exactly.
Toa to
he
miss.
Just didn't want to be put in a Toa seal.
Yeah, they think that Pterodax was being like a dumb baby striking out, trying. No, don't hurt me. I'm gonna make one feeble attempt to stop you. Nah, this was a strategic failure.
So yes, so now we go elsewhere, and we have Brutaka fighting a giant squid, and he escapes from it. And he realizes that Motunui is just dying, and he hadn't abandoned the universe like he originally thought, and he's like, you know what? I have done a bad thing.
I fucked up real bad.
Yeah.
I fucked up real bad. I'm a dirty boy. I need to get wet. Oh, wait, I am wet. I am never going to not be wet, because once you get wet, you can't... Once you go fish, you can never go unfish. Once you go fish, you can never go back.
So now the mutating Paraka are hurrying down the cord, and Zaktan decides it would be better if they wait for the Toa Nika to return before they get their revenge, so they can ambush them. Because then they're thinking, they'll bring the mask back to us.
And that's why they were even there. Because honestly, it was kind of random, that whole sequence in the original story, wasn't it? It was just kind of random.
It was for funsies.
They were
because
there,
we love
and
the
they were
snake
snakes.
Paraka.
They were there and they were snakes. Why were they there? Why were they snakes? They were snakes because of the pit. But why were they there? We didn't know. Now we do. Huzzah!
I think they said in the story that they wanted to get their revenge.
Yeah, but it still felt kind of random. But now it doesn't, because we see that they chase the Toa down the thing, and then halfway through they were like, "Wait, why are we doing this? They have to come back this way to bring it back. Just wait. Just sit and wait."
Anyway, so then Jala theorizes that the team were destined to become Toa to atone for defying Matanui during the Batoran Civil War. And that's a pretty good cope from him, I would say.
And they have an existential crisis about it.
Maybe I am Jesus.
Oh wait, yeah, they had their existential crisis earlier, but now this is happening. Okay.
Yeah, and this honestly reminds me of the very early drafts for Vision of the Great Beings content. We discussed Galley's crime at the end of the first season at some point, and that this reminds me tonally of that, where it's like the Toa are having to come to grips with something that they either didn't understand that they were doing wrong, or they don't remember that they did.
Mm-hmm.
I like that concept. It's good. I'm glad that it made it in some form into something that was published, even if it was only like convergently developed.
I love this shit. I love this shit. I love this shit. This shit. This is shit that I love. This shit.
This shit? This is real shit?
Oh, no.
I love this shit. This is good shit.
So,
shit, fuck shit.
Hey,
shit, fuck shit. I just remembered that we're not supposed to swear, and I apologize.
I
legit forgot. What is time? Pretend that didn't happen. I'm sorry.
Yeah, anyway, so that's a nice cope from Jala, and Kongu comes in and informs Jala that the Zyglek have caught up to them, and they've caught up to the events of the next book for them. Hooray!
Yay! I like reading.
Epilogue time.
I don't.
Icarax recovers the Krakan in Mangaya. Itakanuva sees him and mistakes him for Terry before Icarax teleports away, and he's like, "The Makuta's alive." The one thing I did was I failed at. God damn it!
Yep, and this was when this was what he meant when he went to the Turaga in an earlier story we read, and he said, the guy I killed, he's back, and the guys were like, "Wait, are you sure it was the guy?
Which one?
Because it might have been a different the guy."
But yeah, that's the story. What's our thoughts on the story?
Oh my god, I love it. So I want to do inappropriate things to the guy who did the thing. See, I did my best to control myself.
This had a lot of member berries in it, but I think it was very tasteful in the way it was done.
Those are some tasty member berries right there.
I think it was one of the only stories on Myth and Legacy so far that could be considered like a full, proper book, which I do think we need to do more of.
Yeah,
I love books.
Are you sure about that?
It's nice to get these actual novel-sized pieces of media. It's just, let's not have it packed in with another lot of... other stuff next episode.
No, I love books.
Yeah, I think Remnants and Rejects is the other one that comes to mind that we've done that's novel sized. And Reign of Shadows is also long. It's not officially a novel, but it's about 1.5 times the length of one, I think. Maybe double.
Right.
So that one.
I like Buzz better.
Yeah,
I agree.
You agree with stuff. Good boy.
All right.
But we've thought about rearranging some things, because this, I think, is actually about 5,000 words longer than a normal book. So there's.
Well, are you saying that this book that we couldn't talk about 2 weeks ago was a longy boy?
Yeah,
long boy.
it's a little longer than
you
than
said
the
this boy was long. He's saying cats, long boy, cats. I love cats. Long cats.
So, since I've been working on a project to compile the 2007 serials into Destiny's format and expanding on it a bit so that it's about the same size as the 2008, 2009, 2010 ones. I've been thinking about moving some of this content, like the Kraka and Tatarak stuff, over there. The thing is that it would require moving stuff from Inferno over there too, because that's where she's set up. But since her return to the universe is mainly a serial sort of thing set in Reign of Shadows and a couple other serials, so some of this stuff might be offloaded onto there, and this would be focused more on the core adventure and the subplots related to that.
Yeah, that's so base.
That's something that might happen down the line.
Okay.
Interesting.
I love it. Cool.
Yeah. Remember, Mary's more adventure focus.
I'm a kitty cat.
Wow, we're only an hour and a half in. that took a lot less time than I was expecting.
It's either too much or too little, you know? But, is there any other thoughts we have, guys? Levi, do you have anything to say that you haven't said?
It didn't surprise me that this was cancelled media that's just been written in for ESO1, was it again? Myths and Legacy. It just slots in really well. It's a really good little novel. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I love it.
Indeed.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I personally was really happy because, as we know, the Toa Naika are iconic sets. You know, the marketing was iconic. It was a great year. And unfortunately, like, in the story, there's not much content with them, because, like, in the narrative, this group is only Toa Naika for, like, a few days tops, you know? With, like, no real, like, gaps in the story for other adventures. So for me, it was really nice to have, like, a new, like, more content with them in these abilities and everything.
I'll die on the hill that design-wise, the Anika are better than the Maori. I always preferred the Anika over the Maori, and even in concept with their actual powers, like, they have lightning laced with their elemental energy, and then when they turn into the Toa Maori, that's just taken away before it's even used in any major way.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, conceptually, they're so cool, and there's not much material with them, you know?
I think that when apparently the Ignika, because it doesn't hate them, because it doesn't hate all life. Oh, wait, no. Or maybe Maturo does it. The point is, at the end of the story, the Maori are given the ability to speak Spanish.
I'm afraid not.
I was about to say the Maori are given back the ability
downloaded Duolingo into their brains.
But I was going to say the Maori are given the ability to breathe air so that they can leave.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I'm just really glad that we got another story with the Anika, like, you know, as the Toa Naika.
Yeah. But what I was going to say was, I think it would have made more sense if they were given, you know, like a combination of their two forms, because I just think that it was, I think the Anika were too cool to just not exist anymore as a concept.
Yeah. And that's why, like, as part of my proposals for Vision of the Great Beings, little peek behind the curtain here, but we have talked about making a new Toa team out of some characters that I won't talk about. And I figure if we set it up so that these characters are, say they're investigating the ruins of the crashed Red Star. We could potentially have a new team of Toa and Aika to play with.
Mm-hmm. All right. I would just retcon that when Motoro fixed the Mari's lungs, that he made them into a Nika Mari mix. But I am all for the idea of a new Toa team, because that means that Kapura could be that.
We'll
Kapura
just have to wait and see.
Make Kapura a Toa.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
But that's the main thing
I'm banging on the table. You told me not to do that. I'm sorry. I'm making everything bad again.
Yeah, but that was the main thing I wanted to say, was just like the Anika thing. Having more of that was just really nice, and it was also a story that I like. The concept, like, I read about because I own like I mentioned earlier, I own the Bionicle Encyclopedia, the updated edition, and it had like in the character profiles for like Motoro and stuff, it had like a brief summary of like the major events of this story, of like Invasion, with like, Makuta possessing Motoro's body and everything.
I wish I owned a book.
So it was nice to like see it in detail, finally.
Yeah. Here's the official list of what we know was going to be in the original one. I've just linked the
Vizon helping to reform the Spear of Fusion with its own power, only for it to be burned to ashes by Jala. Confrontation with the tribe of Zyglak, a scene where Vizon slammed Motoro's head into a wall. Very weird specifications here.
Yes.
Vizon being taken by the Zyglak, Hali being injured in a battle, Pterodax possessing Motoro, Pterodax stealing Hali's Elda. You kinda wrote that in, but also not really. Huki being first to realize Pterodax possessed Motoro's body. So that was a canon thing. Pterodax being forced out, the relationship between the Zyglak and Krana, information about the Toa they would have preferred not to face, such as how far they're willing to go in a crisis and the price of the Toa code. Interesting.
I love you.
So yeah, is there anything else? Any final thoughts on the story we have, or do we cover everything that we wanted to say?
I think that's pretty much it.
I'm a little cat. I like this story and everything about it. I'm a cat.
Indeed.
I'm obviously run out of all brain sauce that I had, so...
it has been a long day, at least for me as well, so...
And, I don't know if you've cut out the part where I discussed that I haven't eaten much in 2 days. I haven't eaten much in more than 2 days, but I have a very...
How would I have cut that out? We're recording it as we speak.
I'm talking to the audience, my guy.
Oh.
Talking to the editor.
Not everything's about you.
I am the editor.
Future Vahkiti.
Anyway.
All right.
Yes?
Hamsters.
So,
forever.
Yeah. What do we have next time, Liam? What's the plan?
I'm actually prepared for this question this time. Look at me.
What's your major?
Next episode, we will be reading Reign of Shadows, The Untold Stories, with Nick Rafora returning as a guest.
Yay! So yes, I'm looking forward to that. That's a cool story arc in general. Cool period of time in the Bionicle story.
If you're able to read it, if you have the time, which it's a pretty big commitment, but we do all have a version of Reign of Shadows on Myths and Legacy with the Untold Stories intercut with the original Reign of Shadows. So that's an option available. It also, since Untold Story bounces off of some of those official story events, but also expands on them and whatnot. That is,
yeah, and I have the links to that in the schedule channel as well.
Mm-hmm.
I only read the things that Liam tells me to write, and by Liam I mean whoever wrote the schedule for the show.
But it is long. I think it's about I'm not sure how much it would be, maybe 50,000 words altogether.
Jeez.
So that'd be about a book and 2 books and a half from the original novels.
Yeah.
Okie
Wow.
dokie.
All right.
Okie dokie, Loki.
Just the untold stories would be a lot shorter. It'd be maybe 15,000. No.
I think I read it all in 1 2-hour sitting.
I don't know how long it takes me. I always underestimate how long it takes me to read for stuff. I always think, okay, it's going to take me a few days to read this, and then I finish reading it.
Yeah.
Apparently, I read all of Homestuck 2 yesterday.
All right. So everyone who's listening, do your homework. And then you'll catch us next time on the flip side
And
hopefully next time I don't put the wrong reading material in the description and have somebody come to us and say like,
again, my friend.
Last time somebody came to Chip and was like, "Hi, I've been reading along, but the material in the description is completely different."
And remember, kids at home, if you don't want to be like me, don't get brain cancer.
So thank you for joining us, everyone. This is your friend who has been gathered here, Max Dudek, with my other friends who have been gathered here.
Indeed.
Goodbye.
Turkey.
Goodbye.
Turkey basters.
Now we are ungathering. Goodbye. Dispersed friends.
Dispersed friends. My favorite friends.